Letitia James is the Attorney General of New York that recently won a shocking court victory against Donald Trump. But she's not stopping there. Wait until you hear about the new outrageous court case that she filed this week. Letitia James is out of control. Many of you have already heard that Letitia James' civil case in New York has already been decided against Donald Trump. The judge in the case, Judge Engoron, awarded the state of New York an enormous verdict of $454 million, based on the allegation that Donald Trump inflated the value of his properties when he requested a loan. This loan was paid back in full. None of the banks complained, and they want to continue to do business with Donald Trump. So there were no victims, no damages, and no broken contracts. And yet, this judge declared Donald Trump guilty in a court proceeding with no jury. It's widely anticipated that Donald Trump will have the verdict overturned on appeal, but even just to begin the appeal process, Donald Trump will be forced to put up the money. This is incredibly unjust. It's unreasonable punishment to force him to put up an amount that is so large for a verdict that is expected to be appealed. How many people have $454 million lying around that they can let the courts hold on to while they decide whether to appeal a case? I made a whole video breaking down Trump's civil case, and I will link it in the description down below if you want to know more. But I want to focus on Letitia James. She ran her campaign for Attorney General on the promise that she was going to get Trump. Remember that Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton in 2016. Hillary was a senator from New York, and people were furious when she lost. Letitia James was elected in 2018, calling for revenge against Trump. Here are her comments on the night she was elected.
We must do our job to ensure that the man currently occupying the Oval Office is held accountable to any and everything he has done, and someone who we must keep in check by the long arm of the law.
She is using her victory speech to say that she is planning on attacking a political opponent using the long arm of the law. The only problem with this is it is illegal. You cannot use the office of the Attorney General to target and attack people based on their politics. Here, she was saying out loud exactly what she's going to do. I want to be really clear about this. Political persecution is against the Constitution, and it should be because America was founded by people trying to escape political persecution. Every American has the right to a fair trial. So when things are going on, like the FBI targeting Republicans and ignoring Democrats, that's illegal. If Fannie Willis in Georgia is hiring her lover boy and getting kickbacks, that's not a fair trial, and it is illegal. When the major political opponent to the current president is arrested and prosecuted right before an election, that is illegal. All these cases against Donald Trump should be thrown out based on the fact that they are clearly politically motivated and unconstitutional. Letitia James won her case against Trump and threw the Constitution in the trash in the process. Now, she's received a lot of criticism for this, and rightly so. Businesses are getting nervous and have started fleeing New York. Since 2019, 158 Wall Street firms have left the state, taking nearly $1 trillion in assets with them. Governor Kathy Hochul gave a statement praising the verdict.
I just got off the phone with Attorney General Tish James and spoke to her about how this sends a strong message that in the state of New York, businesses, business people who commit fraud and to hide their assets will be caught and prosecuted. Whether you're the President of the United States, a past president and forever past president of the United States, or you're an ordinary business person, No one is above the law here in the state of New York. And I congratulate her and her effort for making sure that that is a message that is heard loud and clear, not just here in New York, but across this entire nation.
I hope you understand that this is a threat. She is letting people know that if you are in the wrong political party, they're coming after you. New Yorkers can no longer expect to receive a fair trial or constitutional protections. The governor gave a second interview explaining why businesses should not worry.
Well, the good news is I know many of the business people in New York City, and by and large, they are honest people, and they're not trying to hide their assets, and they're following the rules. And so this judge determined that Donald Trump did not follow the rules. He was prosecuted. And I think that this is really an extraordinarily unusual circumstance, that the law-abiding and rule-following New Yorkers who are business people have nothing to worry about because they're very different than Donald Trump and his behavior.
So she is saying that this was a one-time situation about President Trump. If you're not Donald Trump, you don't need to worry. Your business is safe. Except she was lying, because 1 week later, Letitia James filed a new lawsuit against a new company called JBS. JBS is a company in Brazil. It is the world's largest producer of beef products, with half their revenue coming from the US. Letitia James is suing them because they are not doing enough to fight climate change. I want to explain the details because this is so crazy, you're not going to believe it. Letitia James claims that this company published a report celebrating their environmental efforts and claiming to become net zero by 2040. She claims this is a lie. She claims that the company secretly has no intention of becoming net zero by 2040. Therefore, the company is guilty of deceptive acts and false advertising. Let's break this down. Today is 2024. 2040 is 16 years away. She is saying that this company is going to commit a crime 16 years from now. This is future crime. She's charging people not for committing any wrongdoing, but because she is accusing them of committing wrongdoing in the future. She claims that beef is a highly polluting industry, and it's highly unlikely that they will achieve their goals. I strongly disagree. First of all, it's debatable that climate change is even a real thing. But let's set that aside for the moment. Even if they were going to become carbon neutral, they could just buy carbon credits. That would offset their carbon footprint. Carbon credits pay for things like planting a certain amount of trees to equal the amount of carbon you produce. Purchasing carbon credits could be done instantaneously. So you're telling me that this company will be unable at any point in the next 16 years to perform this instantaneous transaction. That is ridiculous. Let's look at what JBS is doing. They have produced this report. This is a 95-page sustainability report available on the company website. The report gives a very detailed explanation of everything they are doing for ESG. Now, if you watch my channel, you know my opinion. I think ESG is rubbish, and no company should participate in ESG because the Democrats are using ESG as a weapon to force companies to adopt Democrat policies. You only have to look at what's going on in this case. But even if you like ESG, isn't this report exactly what companies are supposed to be doing? JBS is doing exactly what they're told. This report lays out a plan of how they're changing the company to adopt Democrat environmental policies. What's the problem? But Letitia James says this report is a lie. How? It's a business plan for the next 16 years. No business plan is going to be 100% accurate. It's just a plan. Of course it's going to change. A business plan is not a reason to convict someone of committing a crime. Perhaps the biggest problem with this case is that this company is not even American. The company is headquartered in Brazil. Letitia James says that she has the right to sue JBS because their meat is sold in stores in New York. What gives Letitia James the right to tell a company in Brazil whether they can use green practices? She has no jurisdiction to tell Brazilian companies how to operate their businesses. So what's going to happen if Letitia James wins this case? She is seeking a $5,000 fine per violation. This could be enormous. The sustainability report is posted on the company webpage, so every visit someone makes to the website is a violation. If you add up all the violations, this could be a $500 million verdict. This is a completely ridiculous lawsuit. There's absolutely no basis to bring this case. Just like in the trial against Donald Trump, there are no victims. There are no damages. The crime is not even allegedly going to take place for 16 years. They're going to convict this company before they actually do anything. I think there's actually something more sinister going on that no one realizes. You have to ask yourself, why is Letitia James targeting this company? Out of all the companies in the world, why go after JBS? If you've been following politics in Brazil, they just had a hotly contested election in 2022. It was just like Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, but it was between Jair Bolsonaro and Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Bolsonaro was conservative and was running for re-election. Lula da Silva was a communist and aligned with China. Lula da Silva won the presidential election, but there were multiple claims of election fraud. Brazil is the only nation in the world to collect and count votes by electronic voting machines, which are susceptible to fraud. Without paper ballots, there is no way to tell if the results of the election are accurate. The people of Brazil stormed the Capitol building, and more than 1,000 protesters were arrested. Does this sound shockingly similar to what happened in the US? What you have to understand is that ranchers have an overwhelming influence in Brazilian politics. JBS in particular is one of the largest companies in Brazil, and JBS executives have previously been sent to prison for bribing politicians. Bolsonaro has historically had support from ranchers in Brazil, but Lula da Silva was previously convicted of corruption and has the support of the elite who could benefit from corruption. If you look at the current board of directors for JBS, guess who you find? Someone named Paulo Bernardo Silva, who was the former Minister of Communications under Lula da Silva. Paulo Bernardo Silva was also previously arrested for corruption. In my opinion, this lawsuit seems coordinated by the JBS board and by the Brazilian and US governments to pressure the powerful family members that own JBS to support the illegitimate government of Brazil. Just imagine this. Imagine this company receives a massive fine, and the government graciously offers to step in and nationalize the industry to ensure the company fulfills its green initiatives. In one action, they would remove any opposition to the government from the ranchers. Now, you might think I'm making up a conspiracy, but the Financial Times released an article where they discovered that the United States under Joe Biden had engaged in a year-long effort leading up to the Brazil elections. The US Secretary of Defense, the head of the CIA, and the US National Security Advisor all visited Brazil in the year of the election. Their message was that the US would not stand for any attempt to question the voting process or the result. So let's put this all together. Why is Letitia James targeting this random company in Brazil? Out of all the companies in the world that are creating pollution, she's not going after oil companies. She's not going after private jets. She's going after this one company in Brazil. Why? It looks to me like she's using the US court system to influence Brazilian politics. The political climate in Brazil is still very uncertain. Letitia James's lawsuit is issuing a threat, telling these ranchers that they need to fall in line with the Democrats' plans for Brazil, or else they will face the consequences in New York's unfair judicial system. Letitia James doesn't care about the environment. She wants the Brazilian ranchers to support Democrat candidates and policies. Governor Kathy Hochul said that business owners don't need to worry, but she was lying. You need to be very worried. When Letitia James won that case against Donald Trump, that was a signal. She can do whatever she wants. She doesn't have to follow the Constitution. It's not going to stop at Donald Trump. They're going to use the courts to come after any wealthy business owner and seize their money. They will bring the case in front of a corrupt liberal judge, and you will not even have the right to defend yourself. I don't know how any business stays in New York at this point. For anyone living in New York, I would just pick up my stuff and move. This is communism. Letitia James can start using lawsuits as a threat. Do what we want, or we will sue you in court. She can say, donate to my campaign, or we will sue you in court. And if you protest, guess what? They will sue you in court. We need to start impeaching these people. They are violating the Constitution. Letitia James took an oath of office not to violate the Constitution.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Letitia Ann James, do solemnly swear.
I, Letitia Ann James, do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the great state of New York.
By using the court system to target political opponents, Letitia James is violating her oath. That is an impeachable offense. The reason she doesn't seem to care is that you need a simple majority in the New York State House of Representatives to call for someone's impeachment. The New York House is 102 Democrats to 48 Republicans. But as Letitia James starts going after more and more businesses in New York, some of those Democrats might start thinking about impeachment. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think that it is unfair that Letitia James is suing JBS? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. For a quick channel update, I don't know if you caught my video last week, but I think I made some powerful people upset because of what I was exposing. Unfortunately, my video got demonetized, and it's my second video to get demonetized in February. But I'm not gonna stop making these videos, and I'm gonna continue to do my best to get out the truth. A big thank you to everyone who has signed up to be a member on my website, wolvesandfinance.com. Your support helps me to keep making these videos, and I appreciate it. I'm Zach from Wolves and Finance. Thank you for watching.